areas of work for consideration. This is linked to item 5. We need to take seriously when individuals raise something with us, even if it's Ofsted 1, 2 or 3. And one of the issues that's raised is important. So that may be an area that we want to consider for the future. And it is around access issues. So I'm planting that with you because this is an important issue, and it may be something the board would like to prioritise in the future, maybe even working with other organisations that are better placed to deal with that because they've got the expertise. There's 2 other areas that I think are worthy of discussion in terms of areas of work for future consideration, and Rachel's already raised them really. One is the Francis report, following the Staffordshire inquiry, and the other one is on Winterbourne View. We're going to be setting priorities for Health Watch Newcastle in the next few months in terms of direction of work programme, and I'm really wanting to ask the board's thoughts around future areas of work for consideration. Those are the ones I've come up with. We have raised the Francis report with the leaders of the organisations that we've visited and said, we are interested to know what we're going to be doing. Yes, absolutely. And we also raised Winterbourne View with the local authority when we met with them just last week. So, in terms of other areas, am I on track here with my suggestions? Or?
Do you want to say a bit more about the access? Do you want to say? But I think the issue is around access to primary care services. Was it the issue that came through?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we had an issue about access to primary care services for people with disabilities. So we know there's a Disability Act. Commissions need to be cognizant of that to make sure it's built in. But actually, is this a solitary issue or is it much wider? So I don't know whether this is something that,
It's always an issue amongst disabled people, is access to it. It's always the prime thing that we want to talk about and improve, especially within health. Social care, I don't know whether it's such a problem, but certainly within health, accessibility is a huge issue for disabled people. I think, if we leave it on the website, we can get quite a big response to it. Because it's always the sore point. It's often disabled people need a lot more health care than able-bodied people, so it's really, really important.
I think it's obviously, if you decide to look at this area, and I would agree with Lisa, it is a constant issue because it's a constant problem. It's probably helpful to actually think about how to involve other organisations in collecting evidence, as well as putting it on the website to actually go out, whether it's asking or whether it's holding meetings or doing it in other ways as well. But as you rightly said, there's a lot of organisations with far more expertise than Health Watch has, who've been doing this for some time. We've just had a form from both clinical conditioning groups in relation to their Equality Act assessments, and I think quality impact assessments. And I think that might be a good way to get back to them, to say, it's a ridiculous time frame of turning around in about 2 weeks is to respond by saying this issue has been raised and we'd like to do some more work on it. So
I'm glad you shared that about the CCGs, because interestingly enough, other CCGs really have suddenly flagged this up at this very point in time with a certain sort of time scale. I don't know if there's some big tech come out saying, you need to do this with an inadequate time scale. So I'll hold back instead of anything.
And what Rachel could possibly do is if you wish, Chair, to circulate those comments. Circulate the forms we've received. I don't see why they couldn't go onto the Health Watch website. I mean, they've only been sent out to certain organisations, I'm not clear who got them and why only certain organisations got them, because clearly they probably impact on quite a number of groups, not least those present in this room.
Yeah.
But then to do a specific piece of work, if you so wish, certainly involving other organisations. We can discuss that later on.
What do other board members think about that?
That's a really good thing to do.
I believe with teacher CCGs, actually, it needs to be open to the public. Notions of pointing in impact assessments, etc., so that everybody has access to the equality, the impact equality framework that they're setting. And to make that happen, we also need to give more time. And maybe there's a help watch the Newcastle can offer to do some of that work in return for requisite resources.
Oh yes. That's a really nice way of putting it as well.
I know that CCG are doing quite a lot of work with Howard, the Health and Racial Equality Forum, and they would be really, keen, I suppose, for much more input. And maybe what they've been doing will be replicated, across the city, because they have been really active in particularly finding out what the access issues are for the NE communities. And I think that continues, although they're doing work on it, I think Health Watch should include the NE communities in this, because some communities are way back, we know that children are not registered with dentists, they don't know what's available. So it's an information giving job as well as an access issue.
Yeah, but it's not just physical access, is it? It's about access. Okay, good. You made a note of that, Rachel. What about Winterbourne and Francis report?
I'm not sure I'm clear what you're suggesting, Chair, in terms of because in a sense they're kind of themes that will run and run for some time, aren't they? They're going to heavily influence providers and how they will organise themselves in the future. Are you suggesting there's a specific piece of work we should do, or that we should somehow build that into other things?
I think there are areas of consideration to incorporate, certainly within the pieces of work, because certain recommendations came out, and there's other reports that have come out. It's John Berwick's report that's come out as well. I suppose what I'm getting at here is, do we want to do any work around how Francis' report and the Winterbourne View reports are being dealt with? Or do we want to be just aware that they're there and the recommendations are being followed up in pieces of work that our organisations are doing? Because you're right, they are going to be around for a while.
They are, and of course there's hopefully plenty of others who are monitoring the effects of what people are doing. The CQC and Monitor, etc., just should be all over this.
There's a very big national reports on which there's a lot of scrutiny already, and given the finite capacity of Health Watch and Newcastle, we should be keeping an eye on what people have said in relation to Francis and Winterbourne about local provision, but I don't think we can duplicate what CQC Monitor, various parliamentary scrutinies, things like that as well, etc. I don't think we need to.
Could I suggest something, Chair? Because certainly the Francis report and the Donald Buick and possibly changes to the complaints procedure that came out of Midstaffs, and also Winterbourne, which is about people's learning disabilities and the treatment of those. I wonder if it's worthwhile going to Health Watch England and suggesting they might actually want to do a piece of work about potential guidance to help local health, which of course chooses to ignore, if they wish, around what could be done on a local level from a user, carer, voluntary sector perspective that could actually answer that, because I think that's quite different to what the providers are doing. I know Diana's just left, but I think she's going to an event about Winterbourne.
She is next week. Yeah.
So I think it's from that perspective that I think maybe Health Watch England or the Health Watch hope to see what others are doing, because I think there is, as you say, there's going to be national stuff coming out. So it's what could we do usefully within resources around that.
That really makes sense to me. That seems more, better use of our resources to help watching them to see what they require.
Good idea. Thank you, Sally. Right, is there anything else? Is there any other items of business?